All right. Hey Siri, set timer for 10 minutes. All right, Jules, do you want to start a question off?
Oh, sure. I had a question the other night thinking about her talent, and it may be totally off base, but your piece that you chose, In the Mood, does not have lyrics. We really don't know what it's about, do we? If you had to put an idea behind why it's called In the Mood, or should it have lyrics, where would you go with that?
If I could attach maybe a time in history or a story within the mood, it would undoubtedly be the 1940s and the end of the war. When we think and we hear In the Mood and classic swing music, we think of a woman in a swing dress with polka dots dancing with her husband that just came back from the war. And so if I could attach lyrics or potentially a storyline with In the Mood for Glenn Miller, it would 100% be something related to patriotism.
All right. I see that you are also a competitive trombonist. Tell me a little about your history with competing with this instrument.
I started playing the trombone when I was in 4th grade, but really got serious about it in my 6th and 7th grade year. Starting in 6th grade, I started doing solo ensemble, both with a jazz ensemble and by myself. And those were my main competitions with the trombone. And so I started playing A-level pieces by the time I reached 7th grade and reached the state solo ensemble level 4 times.
Okay.
Can I jump off from there?
Yep.
So let's take that whole idea of competitive with the music, the trombone, and how would you compare and contrast your competitive levels, or when it comes to the trombone versus academics versus sports versus the scholarship program?
Absolutely. I think this level of competitiveness between the activities that I do, including DYW, in the classroom, athletics, and the trombone, it comes down to what part of it is with other people and what part of it is with yourself. In the classroom, my biggest competitor is myself. I'm always trying to get a higher grade than I did on the last test. I'm always trying to get a higher ACT score than I did 3 months ago. On the softball diamond, I'm competitive with the team that I'm playing against, but also for a spot on the team. I ideally want to hit second or third in the lineup, but that might not always be the case. So in that case, my opponent is not only the other team, possibly my teammates, but also myself, because how can I make myself better in order to be better on the team? And then with trombone, my main competitor is other trombonists. Obviously, I can always be working on myself and always be beating out what I was a week ago. But mainly, I have to have a better tone, better melody, better rhythm than the next trombonist in line.
All right. So recently, MIT put something out about how if you want to train your children to be great thinkers, you need to not sign them up for coding, but sign them up for piano lessons, music lessons. What are your thoughts on that?
I think starting from a young age, putting a child in music and especially piano is so beneficial. If you put them in coding, that's all they're going to ever think about. My mom put me in piano lessons when I was in the 3rd grade, not because she thought I would be a pianist for the rest of my life, but it forced me to use different brain muscles than anything else in my life. Playing an instrument and playing the piano stimulates different parts of your brain that obviously in the long run will benefit you both in the classroom and in a competitive set.
How did you choose trombone versus piano for your talent?
I ended up putting away the piano when I was in 7th grade in pursuit of the trombone, primarily because I enjoyed how unique it was. It's not often that you see a female trombonist, let alone a female brass player in her teenage years, but there's a lot of piano players out there. I really believe trombone set me apart from the rest, and it was something I was truly passionate about. You could play jazz music on the piano, but when you think jazz music with a piano versus a trombone, you're going to automatically think of the trombone and the glissando on the slide, which is playing the same note moving up the slide, and swing music that goes with brass instruments.
All right.
So Maggie, when you walk out of this room, what are the 3 things you want us to remember about you?
want you to know that I have faced a lot of failure in my life, and I truly believe that's what has built me up for then put me into the position I am today. I think all the failure I faced, including rejections with school in the recruitment process for softball, failing in the classroom, failing in my sport, that's what's made me into the resilient individual I am today. And I hope I get to tell you some of my anecdotes from that. I also want you to know my career pursuits. At the end of the day, I want to be an oncologist. But before I do that, I'll be playing collegiate softball at MIT.
All right.
Good. Do you think that arts are an important aspect of education? Should they be required in any kind of way, or does that diminish the love of art as art?
Brookfield Central, which is the high school that I just graduated from, requires for 3 fine art credits throughout a person's career within the 4 years of Brookfield Central. I believe this is super beneficial because while some may argue that it takes away the love by requiring the art, there are so many different branches of fine arts and arts in general that an individual can pursue. This includes band, orchestra, choir, and different physical arts like we have ceramics, we have drawing, and we have real art. With this, I believe that it should be a requirement to have some sort of arts within a school curriculum because it opens a world for so many different individuals. And like I mentioned earlier, the arts stimulates different parts of the brain that you can't get in any other academic setting.
All right, I'm gonna be honest, my timer didn't start, so I don't know how far we're into
I wasn't keeping track.
Do you know, Maggie?
It's 6:16, and I think we started at 6:10 or 6:09.
Okay.
So like 3 more minutes?
Okay, let's keep going another 3 minutes. Sorry about that.
All good.
They won't do that to you for real.
I've had a 20-minute interview.
All right, I'll set it for 3 minutes. Okay. All right. Do you think that there'll come a time when computers can replace teachers or classroom instruction?
I think that there's obviously a danger with AI coming to the forefront. For example, recently, Khan Academy, which is a world-renowned academic tutor that's online, they've incorporated what's called Tishaming, or I forget the name of it, but an AI tutor that will directly tell you the name or directly help you with questions that you ask on ChatGPT or on the AI bot. While this might be replacing some skill sets of teachers, I don't believe that AI will directly take away from the benefit a teacher will give to a student. Having that one-on-one conversation with a teacher is so beneficial, and just typing to a computer and on a keyboard in order to get answers for math will never replace the benefit of face-to-face conversations.
Can you tell me a little bit about your desire to study oncology, to go on and specialize in that?
Absolutely. I've always been inspired by math and science, and so I've always wanted to be in STEM. And so I want to start with that biological engineering basis. But what really makes me want to be in the medical field, and specifically oncology, is that doctors have to instill hope within their patients. Whenever I tell somebody I want to be an oncologist, about 75% of the time, the person will tell me, "You're going to live a really sad life." And while I can see that argument, I push back and say, someone has to do that job, and it has to be someone that can instill hope within their patients who just received possibly the most detrimental news of their entire life. Ultimately, not only is my passion for science and math geared towards oncology, but my personality as an optimist and a hopeful individual is perfect for this career.
What do you
I
want
don't know
to go ahead.
No, I didn't know if we lost you. I couldn't see.
Sorry. What do you want to be remembered for in your high school legacy?
There's a lot of things that an individual can be remembered for, but I don't want it to be my accolades or who I was friends with or what college I ended up going to, but I want it to be my personality and the way I interacted with others. I want to be known as the girl that anybody could approach. And I'm hoping to leave that impact as of right now because I'm a Hope Squad member at Brookfield Central, which is a peer-nominated suicide prevention support group. With this, I hope to continue this reputation that I've built as someone that anybody can approach and will always instill hope within someone's lives.
All right, and that's the time. It's buzzing right now. So, all right, how do you feel about that one?
It was okay. I think a few parts a little shaky, but obviously not in the most ideal environment right now. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
All right. I agree. I think it was good. Hey Patrick, we're recording in here. The talent piece, I thought that was a great question, and it was completely exactly what I thought you would say. Like, I think that is what that piece conjures up, and it maybe even say something about how you, with the costuming, that
Right.
you're trying to embody that moment. You're trying to recreate that moment in time and hoping that they will also kind of
feel that,
be transported to that moment and feel that time when America was truly united behind a cause and truly euphoric about something very positive happening in our world. Like, I think that is really a great thing to tie into your talent answer, maybe even more so than how long you've been playing trombone.
Okay.
Like, the idea of, I want to transport you all to a time when America was united behind a really good cause and celebrating a victory of, you know, this heartfelt, you know what I mean? Like, so to really show them, like, that's who I am. I am that girl on the street. I'm right. Cause I know you expressed some reservations about like really jumping into that persona. But I think if you internalize that in your talent answer, they're almost, I don't know if they'll ask about your talent or not, but I really feel like it's a great way to kind of tie that all together.
For sure.
Right? So that they're imagining that while you're playing, because that's going to build in warm, fuzzy feelings before you even play a note.
Say anything else. Right.
Right. Okay. Your competitor self, thought that answer was a little bit long, but I liked the essence of what you had to say. I don't know that you needed to go through every type of scenario, but just to mention that you're always pushing yourself to be the best that you can be. But you also can't live in a vacuum. You have to be aware of the fact there are other trombonists trying to be the first chair or whatever it might be. You know what I mean? Or other softball players that are trying to have, you know, certain ranking in the batting order. So I think that's important to be aware of that, but then also ultimately to be focused then on yourself and what you can do to improve. Right. The MIT music versus coding. Really awesome that you pulled in the piano stuff, because I haven't heard you talk about that before. Talking about how that stimulates your brain and how your mom had that vision from a very early age for you, that it was going to help develop you academically, but also enrich your life by having introducing you to music. That was a good answer. 3 things to remember. I really liked that you led with failure, right? And you also said that you hope to be able to tell the anecdotes. Was a great segue that they could ask you a follow-on question.
Yeah.
But it could have gone too long if you'd given all those anecdotes. So I think that was a really good way to say, I'm open I'm open to talking more about this, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I caught numbers 2 and 3. Maybe I just wasn't spacing out.
That I want to be an oncologist, and then I'm going to MIT for softball.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I just spaced out. I was writing, I guess, and missed you saying that. The fine arts requirement at BC, all tied in together. I thought that was a good answer as well. Computers versus teachers. I don't think it matters too much that you couldn't remember the exact name for the thing. The fact that you knew about it and that it was clearly Conmingo, right? So like,
I gotta know.
I don't know that it really mattered too much that you knew what that was, other than knowing that it exists. That's more important, I think, than anything. And then that you circled back to that one is beneficial. I think it's important to acknowledge the benefits that AI has to offer for the quick answer, for the, you know, when your teacher's not there at 11 o'clock at night when you're trying to figure out your math homework. But Khan Academy AI might be might be a good way to kind of tide you over until you see your teacher the next day, right? Oncology, that was one of the best answers. I haven't heard you talk about that before. I thought that was really insightful for somebody your age. That people tell you you're gonna have a sad life. I hadn't really thought about that before, but I was really glad that you brought up Hope Squad, because the fact that you are a positive person, that people recognize you as being a positive person, and that you've also had the training to recognize the signs of depression, right? And that you're self-aware, I think is really a great thing to pull into that you're currently an optimist, you plan to always be an optimist, but you're also trained in the signs of depression, and that it takes a constant kind of self-inventory to maintain your mental health and do the things that you need to do to maintain that, right?
Yeah.
Good. I thought you had some pretty solid answers there.
All right.
Got
Awesome.
anything you want to add to it, Julie?
I thought she did a great job. And one of the things too is your speaking voice, I have noticed, is you really project well. So just some people don't. So that's a beside. I'm a big fan of maybe not using the word failure, but using challenges or something like that. That's got a little
mute
more.
myself. Hold on. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
If I can figure out how to mute myself, I will do.
Like this.
Stop it. Okay, here, there.
But yeah, words like challenges. Anyhow, instead of the failure, I kept hearing it just made me think negative things instead of positive things. And when you were talking about approachable, that you wanted people to remember that, it made me remember that you were peer nominated for so many of the different things that you are a part of, that you really are a peer leader. And that's got to signal someone who's approachable, that, but anyhow, I just thought about the different areas where you were peer nominated.
Well, and significantly, Maggie, it's one thing to be nominated for prom queen, which you were, but compared to being on Hope Squad, that's a completely different, I don't know what it's a vote. It's a vote of acknowledgement. It's a vote of
character,
of confidence in you, in your, like, of trustworthiness. Like, honestly, like, what the heck does the prom queen need to do? Seriously, what they felt confident that you'd look good with a tiara on your head. It doesn't really mean, I mean, I know it meant something to you, but in terms of like what they need from you, that's a huge vote of confidence in the strength of your character.
And I was thinking student council as well, right?
Yeah, class president.
Class president, yeah.
Yeah, those are
that's
huge
not
things.
just a pretty. That's really important.
Yeah.
Our class president completely disappeared, and like that's the person that's coordinating reunions 30 years down the road.
Right. And also a nice place to kind of name, not name drop, but activity drop, is when they ask you about your legacy. That's a perfect place to say, I was honored to be prom queen. I was honored to be class president. Honored to be part of, the different things. But what really matters to me most is Hope Squad, and the fact that they chose me because they had confidence in me being able to. Now, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, because I know you said your personality, but I think your personality is all tied up in Hope Squad as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's fine to drop those other things. Like, it doesn't hurt them to hear that you were prom queen and that you were class president, right? It isn't necessary, because you're kind of passively dropping those hints instead of having them be the main focus. But you're also like, oh, wow, I didn't realize she was class president too. I didn't know she was on prom. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to drop those little hints along the way.
Yeah.
Don't feel like it's braggy, because this is all about you. It's supposed to be all about you, right? And there's a way to drop those kinds of, I don't know. to give them that
Name
information.
activity drop.
Right. Yeah. Think of it that way. And that's fine without, I don't think you're going to come across as being braggy on stuff.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Good. Well, I'm getting the warning that we're running out of time. Do you feel like you want to give it another 10-minute go, or do you feel like you're good for the day?
Good. We'll meet. I honestly, I could still do a Sunday, like Mrs. Linnihan, like if you want to do one Sunday night, like your night schedule now. But
Yeah.
also I know we have the one for 7:30
on Monday. Yeah, let's skip Sunday. I'm not really sure what Sunday's looking like right now.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
So, it's probably not good for me to get scheduled up. I might make them ride roller coasters.
No, I'm mad that I'm not. I was there last year for Mother's Day.
Here?
Wasn't I?
No, I
2
was.
years. 2 years.
Yeah, maybe. I was in your world for Memorial Day.
3 years ago. It's 2021. Anyhow. Yeah. So I let my Busch Gardens pass slide.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I want to use the Six Flags.
Yeah, you got to get out here to Six Flags.
I got to get to Chicago, Milwaukee, like super fast for a quick turnaround.
Okay.
So
Sounds
I'll
good.
let you.
All right.
So
Okay.
Maggie, questions. What didn't we ask you that you would want us to ask about? What do you think about? Man, I thought they were going to ask me.
Probably like more, I guess, like there's only so many world issues that could be asked about, but I was surprised there was no current event questions today. But other than that, maybe some.
I found a really good list of questions, and I'm hesitant to give them to you because I don't know if I want them to be surprises when you see them.
Okay.
Or if I should give them to you ahead of time so you can start thinking about some of them and maybe wow us when you get them. But it's hot topics basically for teens right now, and they're broken down by section. So I was hitting the education section kind of hard.
Yeah.
Other ones on there were like, is the college education as valuable as it used to be? Are student loans exploitative? Is it time to eliminate standardized tests? Okay, those could all be interview questions.
Definitely brought up.
Yeah. And then there's science and technology ones that are, I don't know, like, do you think cryptocurrency is going to replace cash? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, if you're not going to finance, I don't think they're going to dig into that.
Yeah.
Should every American have the right to access the internet?
Okay.
That's kind of a broad one. Then government politics, should vaccines be mandatory? Should the Supreme Court justices have term limits? Should voting be mandatory? Should we make all drugs legal?
Oh my gosh.
Is it time to decriminalize sex work? I don't think they'll go there with DYW.
I don't think so.
Minimum wage question, should we raise it? Can government?
Could you send me this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's some good stuff. Like, I think it's pretty, I don't know, are we living in a dystopian society? That's pretty sad.
Oh, okay. All right now.
Should we punish or help drug addicts? Is bad parenting responsible for the rise in child obesity? Yeah, there's some good stuff on here. I'll share it with you because I do think it would be good. I think it would be worth your while to be able to look some of this stuff over.
Definitely.
And most of them are specific enough that I don't think that they would be self-expression prelim questions. I think they'd be more like interview questions or maybe on stage finals night questions.
Okay. So, yeah, that makes sense.
But at least maybe it'll get us out of the types. I don't know. I think we varied it a little bit. We went more
definitely
with your bio today than about topics, but we didn't have Bob, and Bob's all about current events. So
yep.
All right, I think we're about out of time. It's just about to run out. So perfect. I'll make this into a recording and share it with you too.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, have a great weekend.
Thank you. See you later.
All right, bye.